A very festive hello to you all. I am Tom the Tale-Teller Phillips, a local storyteller and author of Leicestershire folktales for children and Forest folktales for children. Long has been the tradition to tell stories around Christmas. With the days fleetingly short and the nights long and dark, in times gone by, family and friends would sit around the fire, keeping warm and sharing tales of warmer times, of heroes and villains, and stories to chill the bones. Of course, one of our most famous Christmas stories is a ghost story at heart. This being the fabulous Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. I am here to continue the tradition with you all, and will be sharing one of my favourite festive stories. This one is a fun little yarn originating from the frozen lands of central Norway, an area known as the Dovrefell, and involves Christmas, good food, a travelling stranger, a polar bear, and trolls. The story is called The Cat of the Dovrefell. So if you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. My story starts, like all good stories start, with a once upon a time. Halvor lived with his family in a lovely log cabin at the edge of the woodland, overlooking the frozen land high up on the Dovrefell. It was a quiet, blissful existence, apart from one night a year. It was Christmas Eve, and Halvor and his family were preparing, when there was a knock at the door. Halvor opened the door, and there stood a traveller, a stranger dressed head to toe in furs, covered in snow and ice. "Friend," said the traveller, "would you be so kind as to offer me a bed for the night, and maybe some of that lovely food I see you've prepared? For I am travelling from the north with my friend, my companion, down to perform for the king at New Year's." Halvor could see the traveller had spotted what was on the table behind him, for he was drooling and dribbling. You see, on the table behind Halvor sat a feast of freshly cooked meats, of pies, of pastries, of puddings and vegetables. "Of course," said Halvor. "You are welcome to stay here all night, have as much food as you like, and take the pick of any bed you want to sleep in. For me and my family will not be here tonight." "Why ever not?" asked the stranger. "Well," said Halvor, "you see, we have visitors on Christmas Eve. For as long as we can remember, the trolls have come. From all over the Dovrefell they come, and they make a mess of our house on Christmas Eve, unless, of course, we leave out this feast, for then they gorge themselves on the food, and they tend to fall asleep and be gone by dawn, not making any mess." "Oh, well, maybe I could help," replied the stranger. "Me and my friend." And he gave a whistle, and to the door came a huge, great, white polar bear. Halvor staggered backwards. "It's quite all right," said the stranger. "This is a fully trained white bear. He is my companion, and he is what I am going to show to the King of Denmark. He has requested me and my friend the bear to come and perform for him." "If we stay here tonight," said the stranger, "maybe the trolls might have a little run-in with my friend here, and we might be able to solve your problems." "That's great! That's fabulous!" replied Halvor. We shall go, me and my family, and sleep in the cabin that we have, the small little cabin in the woods behind this one, and we shall leave you and your friend to it. And I can't wait to see you in the morning to hear how it's been." Well, Halvor and his family left, a few things in hand, and off they went to their second cabin to spend the night in the woods. The traveller and his companion, the great white bear, they entered the cabin. They settled down at the table and they began to eat their fill. And it wasn't long before they were both full to bursting. The nights drew in early in the middle of winter, for it was already dark outside, and the traveller and the bear were exhausted through so many days of travelling and rough sleeping in the snow. The man, he settled down in one of the bedrooms on a freshly made comfy bed. The bear, well, he snuggled down like a cat on a rug next to a blazing fire in the hearth. And they both slept dreamless sleeps. The moon was high in the sky. It was a cloudless night. And crunching over the freshly fallen snow from the day before came the trolls. A little one came first. He opened the door slowly, and by the light of the embers he could see the food laid out on the table. "Come on, lads! Let's have our fill! Woohoo!" And in ran the small troll, followed by a big troll, and then a medium-sized troll, and then fat trolls and thin trolls and ugly trolls and even uglier trolls. Some trolls with noses dangling down to sweep the floor, other trolls with ears so large even an elephant would be green with envy. Trolls of all shapes and sizes, none of which particularly pleasant to look at. The trolls were so fixated on the food they didn't see the great white bear sleeping by the fire. They began to fill their faces, food and drink going everywhere as they guzzled and slapped and slooped and gobbled up the food. It wasn't until the food was nearly gone, though, that one of the smaller trolls caught sight of the great white bear lying there next to the fire, asleep. It went over and it said, "Oh, look," it said, "it's a great big white cat. Halvor and the family have got a cat." But that's what he thought it was, for it was making a purring sound. What the bear was actually doing was snoring, but the troll wasn't clever enough to figure this one out. He began to stroke the cat. "Nice kitty, nice kitty." And then it grabbed the cat's face and smushed its cheeks and rubbed its ugly face against the cat. The cat, or the bear, woke up, eyes opening wide, straight into the troll's eyes, and the purrs of the snores replaced by growls. Well, needless to say, before long, the snores and the growls were replaced with yowls and screams, tooth and claw gnashed and thrashed. The polar bear went to work on the trolls. The trolls did not like this vicious kitty cat, and they soon made a hefty, fast retreat out of the door. A bump, a bang, a wallop. They managed to get out, but not necessarily all in one piece. And they disappeared off into the snow, never to return again. The next morning, when Halvor and his family returned, the house was tidy. the food tidied away, and breakfast ready there on the table. No sign of the traveller and no sign of his great white bear. They didn't quite know what had happened, but they celebrated Christmas like they always did, and they were thankful for the state of the house and for the breakfast. 1 year later, Christmas Eve, Halvor had prepared all the food, and he was out in the woods chopping wood ready for the fire in their reserve cabin in the woodland, when he heard a little voice from behind a tree. Halvor? Yes, said Halvor. Hello, it's one of the trolls. I'd like to say we're sorry about what we've done in previous years, and we'd just like to check. Have you still got that great big white kitty cat living with you? You know, the one with really sharp teeth and claws and a very grumpy attitude. Halvor suddenly realised what had happened, and he replied to the voice. He said, "Oh, our kitty cat, the great white kitty cat. Yes. Soft as anything for us. Doesn't like trolls though. She's still there. But she's also had kittens, 7 of them, and they're growing up to be just as big and just as grumpy as their mother. Why, are you coming to visit them tonight?" "Oh, no," replied the voice. No, we had more than enough of its company last year, and so we'll give your house a miss this Christmas Eve, and maybe every Christmas Eve from now on. Thank you." And sure enough, the trolls never returned, and Halvor and his family lived, like with all good stories, happily ever after. Well, there you are. A festive story for a festive time of year. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Tom the Tellteller Phillips. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas and hope for the new year. Thank you and goodbye.